All right, guys, I want to give you an update from Lake Okeechobee. Started out to be a pretty good event. I was in the top 10 with about an hour left to go on the first day, but ultimately falling out pretty good. End up going to 30th within a few minutes, and I'll explain that later on what happened. But I want to talk about how I caught them, what I was doing to catch these fish. So it was a cold front. The weather was nasty, and one of the main things was having my Frog Togs rain suit. If you're not comfortable on the water, you're not going to catch fish. So having my Frog Togs was real key. Getting through that rain and that bad wind and the cold. So I was very comfortable throughout the day having these Frog Togs. It's not always about just having the rain against you, but the wind. It's a windbreaker, so I was very, very comfortable. I was glad I had that for that day. But the way I caught them was flipping. I was going way back in this creek. You think a creek on Lake Okeechobee is probably one of the only creeks, natural creeks, that was running into Lake Okeechobee. And I was able to take my aluminum boat way back in there, and I had to jump a few shallow spots, but I was able to get back in this creek and probably fishing for some fish that don't normally get messed with. So but anyway, I was concentrating on channel swings. It was cold, post front conditions, and the channel swings were where the fish were positioned. I had went there in practice, and they were kind of everywhere scattered out, and they were just biting. But I kind of dialed it in as the day went on, and they were in those channel swings. It was about 5 to 7 foot on those channel swings, and of course went to nothing on those inside swings. So they definitely wanted to be in that deeper water. But the bait I ended up catching them on was the Creature Hog 4-inch max scent, Berkeley power bait max scent. In practice, I could pitch in there, and they were eating the pit balls really easy. I mean, the power bait pit balls. But I had to switch to this max scent, and I really had to put it in there and fish it kind of slowly. So I had it rigged on the Berkeley Fusion 19 heavy cover hook, 1.5 ounce weight on 65-pound spider wire with on the Abu Garcia Veracity rod. It's a 711 extra heavy, so I'm really pitching in the thick stuff, and I was really hauling them out of there. So and I had it on the Revo Rocket 10-to-1 gear ratio. This setup is real key for a Florida flipping situation. You pitch in there, and I'm working it, but when you get that bite, you really want to get on those fish really quickly and get them out of that thick stuff, and you don't want to really let them go to get you tangled up. So heavy setup rod, Abu Garcia Veracity 711 with the Revo Rocket 10-to-1. But and this Creature Hog was real key. The max scent, I felt like was getting me those bites in that situation. The post front, that scent, that max scent really releases that scent a lot more than your power baits or your traditional baits. So check them out, give it a shot. I guarantee that you'll get a lot more bites with this in that situation. But one of the reasons why I was in the top 10 was this, but I also fell out of the top 10 pretty quickly because I was in a out of bounds zone per MLF requirements, and it's my fault. MLF's emailed us a list of out of bounds areas for Lake Okeechobee, and I did not pay enough attention to it. I looked through the map, I skimmed through it, but I just didn't put it together. I was thinking that this possibly was a creek or an area that I had to lock through, because there's a lot of locking areas you can lock out of Lake Okeechobee to some canals or residential areas. So I just didn't think running into a creek that was on Lake Okeechobee without locking and it being off limits. So it's definitely my fault. They called me while I was on the water, and within that last hour I moved up into the top 10, and the bite was really going. I had it keyed in on this max scent, the creature hog, and they called me and said, you know, Mr. Poche, you're out of bounds, and unfortunately the fish that you caught in that out of bounds area will not count. So there was no disqualification or anything like that. It was just the fact that, you know, and I could fish there the rest of the day if I wanted to, but those fish that I would have kept catching wouldn't have counted. So they set these boundaries for production reasons. You know, they have various reasons on why they do that, but at the end of the day, I was out of bounds. Like I said, it was my fault. I had to reestablish myself back in bounds and continue to fish, but never got another bite after that. It was just a couple key areas way back in this creek that I had found that I felt like that I could do well in, and unfortunately it didn't work out because it was a part of the lake that I wasn't supposed to fish per out of bounds area. So, but anyway, the second day was not much better. I ran around in the lake and just didn't put anything together. My head just wasn't in it. You know, after that first day, that mishap, and just going through that, losing that weight really got to me. So, but hey, you know, Okeechobee's over with. We took a hit on it, but we're going to the next one. We got Lake Fork next, and we're gonna go work hard and try to get it done and move forward. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Check it out. Go to Berkeley's website. Check out all the baits they have, the max scent, all the products. Abu Garcia, they have a great line of stuff, and a lot of stuff you can catch some fish with. So give them a shot.